Hello, welcome back to our stress management seminar. Every week we have been learning new techniques and acquiring new tools that have been helping us reduce stress and view it in a complete different way. Today we're going to explore on how we can stay resilient and strong no matter what we're going through in our lives. Let me ask you something. How is your stress doing lately? We're still going through the pandemic, through the coronavirus pandemic, and there's still stressful situations going around in our lives. So how is your seesaw of stress versus calmness? Who's winning? Are you able to stay calm throughout the day, or stress still robbing you of your peace? You know how sometimes it's very difficult for us to see our own flaws, but we have partners in our lives, either sisters or friends or husbands or wives, and they can help us see what we cannot. So you can ask them in a day that you had a lot of challenges, and it could have been a day that was full of stress in the past. You can ask your partners or friends how you are doing. Are you managing stress better? You could have your own perspective on how you think you're doing, but they could give you also their perspective so you become aware of some of the things that we still need to improve. When you're thinking of your worst day, your most stressful day, be honest with yourselves. See how long you spent in the red zone, or how long you spent on the blue zone, or if you spent most of the day in the calm zone. As you can see in this simple graph, we can imagine the day like this graph, how we could spend some time in the frustration and anger and stress zone, or we could spend some time in the blue zone, which is the sadness, depression, and disappointment zone, when we feel isolated. But also we have the calm zone. And sometimes we might think that we're spending a lot of time here, but having a different perspective will help us see if we're truly staying calm or we are still being triggered and being stressed by the events that happen around us. Of course, we're still gonna get angry or frustrated or stressed about things. Stress is good for us. It helps us do the things that we have to do. And of course, we're gonna get angry if somebody's trying to hurt a child and we're gonna jump to protect it. Those are normal responses that we do not wanna move them out of our life. Our goal is to stay as long as possible in the calm zone and to have normal reactions when they're appropriate. If we need to help a child to get out of trouble, or if we need to ourselves get out of trouble, of course we need to get a stress response. But these incidents don't happen on a daily basis and do not happen several times throughout the day. Therefore, our goal is to stay within the calm zone throughout the day. How can we create conscience to be aware of whether I'm staying calm throughout the day or I'm still being triggered by the things that happen around me? Last class, I mentioned to you to scan your body, and today I want to explain that a little bit more. What does it mean to scan our body? To scan our body means that we pay attention to what's happening with our body, all of our sensations. Are you feeling tingling, numbness? Are your hands dry, clammy, or wet? Do you feel tense, tight, or loose? Are you shaking, or you're twitching, or you're trembling? And you have to learn to describe, well, it's up in my upper quadrant of my chest, or in the middle of my chest, or is in my lower abdomen. And also you have to see what intensity it is. Is it a low intensity or is it a high intensity? For example, if you're feeling tightness, tension on your shoulders, that's a sign for me that I'm feeling stress. You can describe it from 1 to 10, 10 being the worst tension in your shoulders ever, where your tension is. The goal of learning about our sensations and how we feel them is that we learn more about ourselves, because there are certain sensations that come early when the stress response gets triggered, and as the stress response keeps getting bigger and bigger, then our body will give us bigger signs and bigger signs until you're completely tight and all stressed out, tightening your jaw, tightening your shoulders, tightening your whole body. By then you're extremely tight, super stressed out. Therefore, learning to recognize the early signs of stress will help us stay calm throughout the day. We will be creating conscience of the few changes that we are having. That way we could correct and realign our emotions and our sensations to a more calm state of mind. Once we become experts into how to recognize that my body is feeling stress by knowing what sensations I'm feeling in my body, then you can learn to create a new response. We have two options. If we're home and we realize that we are being triggered and we're starting to get stressed or anxious, we could choose to calm our body down. Now we have all these tools in our toolbox that can help us calm our body down. We can use the diaphragmatic breathing and the progressive relaxation. To these, we can add an image of ourselves being calm and relaxed, remembering an event where you're calm and relaxed. Like for me, walking the mountains with my dog. That for me, that memory of me walking through the mountains with the breeze flowing through and my dog running ahead of me, that brings me a lot of calmness and peace. So I could choose to think of that while I'll do my diaphragmatic breathing and I tense and release my muscles so I can go back to a calm state of mind. You can also choose to distract your mind. If you're getting anxious about something or stressed about something, you could choose to do an activity that is going to occupy your mind, like doing a puzzle or doing a math game or a word game, and that will take you out of the current cascade of thought, and you're going to stop triggering your stress response because your mind is going to be occupied by doing something else. But let's say you're at work and you're getting ready to do a presentation for your clients. This is a first big account that you're given, and you are very nervous and you're stressed and you're ready to freak out. You keep thinking, what if I forget? What if I messed up? What you could do is completely change your interpretation of your body's signals. For example, let's say you get butterflies in your stomach and you feel nausea. Instead of saying, I'm so nervous, I'm so scared, what if I mess up? You could say, yes, my body is getting ready for the presentation. I prepared, I'm ready, I study, I have my information, and now my body is getting me all energized and ready for the presentation. So we are taking a new interpretation of our signs and telling our body, this is not nervousness, this is not stress, this is not anxiety, this is readiness, excitement, I am going to do a good job. And so we start retraining our way of thinking into something new and exciting that is happening for us. Professor Amy Cuddy, in her book called Presence, bringing your boldest self to your biggest challenges. In her book, she mentions something that she calls power posing, and she gives several examples. What is power posing? Power posing, you see it all around us, even in nature with the animals. You can see the gorillas in the wild when they get big and they stretch their arms. They're trying to intimidate others and tell them, I'm the boss. You can see it in all the animals as they argue for food or who's gonna be the boss of the herd. She says that through our body language, we tell others how we're feeling. For example, if we sit small with our hands crossed and our legs crossed and we lower our head, we're letting other people think that we're afraid, that we don't feel comfortable because we're small, our head is low, and we are giving the message, stay away from me because I don't feel comfortable. And the power pose is the opposite to that. She mentions that even blind people that have never seen it, when they succeed at something, they do the typical V, that yes, I done it. I'm proud of myself. I feel powerful. Our nonverbals, meaning the way we pose our body, has a huge influence in how other people perceive us. And she posed a question. Could it be that our nonverbals, the way we carry ourselves, also has an influence on how we view ourselves and how we behave? So they set up a study where they set up a fake job interview. They got a group of students and they divided the group into subgroups. And they instructed them to do different poses for 2 minutes before the interview. After the interview, they measure their levels of hormones that were testosterone and cortisol, and they also measure their ability to take risk after they've been through a stressful event like this one. So the first group, they instructed them to sit small with the hands crossed and the feet crossed, and to stay in a low position for 2 minutes. And the second group, they asked them to do a power pose, either like Wonder Woman pose or Superman pose, arms open, chest open, legs spread out. Whether you're sitting or standing, you will do the pose for 2 minutes. And then they went for an interview where it was a challenging interview because the interviewers were instructed not to be kind to them, that they would look at them sternly and not to give them any cues about the interview. When it was time to decide who they were going to hire, the ones that they decided to hire were the students that did the power pose. The reasons that they gave were that they had presence. They were confident, enthusiastic, authentic, and passionate. And that they felt comfortable during the whole interview process. That what they said wasn't that important, that the most important for them is how the individual carried themselves. Meaning our nonverbals, the way we carry ourselves, is constantly communicating to the world how we feel about ourselves. The chemistry results were very interesting also. Right here you can see the testosterone rose 20% for the people that did the power pose and decreased 10% for the people that acquired a small pose. And in our case, since we're studying the stress response, we can see that the cortisol hormone fell sharply on the people that did the power pose and increased on the people that did the small pose. Apparently, testosterone is a key chemical that helps people feel empowered, that gives them the boost to say, I can do these. And if we combine the high testosterone with lower cortisol, then we get a good combination to do well in any task that we have to face. Dr. Kani states that our nonverbals govern how we think and feel about ourselves. Apparently, our bodies can change our minds. Little tweaks in our body posture can create big changes in how we feel about ourselves. Our bodies change our minds changes our behavior, and our behavior changes our outcomes. Another thing that she mentions that is going to help us discover who we want to become is knowing truly what we value. When I teach my seminars and I ask these questions, most of the time people say that they value God, family, and love. They did a study and they asked the students to write for 10 minutes about the thing that they value the most in their lives. And the students that wrote the essay for 10 minutes and then they faced a challenging, stressful interview, they did way better than the students that they did not write about their values. The students that wrote about their values, they didn't increase their cortisol levels in their bloodstream. That is very significant. They were very secure about who they were, and they were calm through the interview and challenge process. People that are firm on what they value and they live according to that, they feel more in control, they feel more powerful, they feel strong, more loving, more connected, and more empathetic to others. There are so many more benefits into living a life aligned with what you value. Not what your family value, not what your teachers tell you to value, but what we truly value. We have been talking for 7 weeks now on many ways that we could change our minds and our bodies and our emotions. And a lot of the things that we have been doing for now 7 weeks, if you consistently have been practicing them, you should see some results by now. In this study from England by Philippa Lally and her colleagues, they discovered that it takes an average of 66 days of practicing a new habit in order for the habit to stay and cement in our system, in our body and in our mind. It's the average. For some people it took longer, like 90 some days, and for some people it took a little bit less. But what it tells us that everything that we've been learning in these stress management seminars, we need to practice them and practice them and practice them. You cannot just say, oh, I'm gonna do them, and then you don't get good results, and then you get discouraged because it's not working. It's difficult to change our old habits, and sometimes we won't change them. But what we could do is that we can create new good ones. Like, for example, the habit of going to sleep at your chronobiology, you correct chronobiology, so you get a good cascade of hormones. You need to be doing it for a long time in order for your body to have a good response and create a new habit of sleeping. All these new habits that I've been teaching you, they need to be done over and over and over again for an average of 66 times or 66 days. We have to do it until we do it without thinking. For example, right now, when I feel anxious or stressed, I consciously trigger my diaphragmatic or abdominal breathing so I can calm myself down. But what if I practice staying calm with the diaphragmatic breathing and I do it for every hour for about 4 hours a day, and I do about a couple of minutes a day, 2 minutes of deep breathing 4 times a day, to create the habit of staying calm, to staying in a peaceful mindset. So I could carry that throughout the day and throughout the night so I can have a restful sleep, wake up rested, and have a good day the next day. This way, our new habits will become stronger than our old habits, and slowly we will conquer the old habits and we will be creating a healthier version of ourselves. So let's add a little bit to our stop exercise that we did last week. Remember, the for stop, S means that you scan your body. Now you know the reason why you scan your body. You're trying to find if there's any changes in your body that will alert you that you're beginning to be stressed or you're beginning to be anxious about something. So you can catch it early and you can calm yourself down. So you scan your body, and then if you find yourself that you're being triggered, that you are becoming stressed or anxious about something, then you want to try to figure out, what am I thinking? Am I worried about a test? Am I worried about lab results? Am I worried about my family? All these things that are worrying you and triggering this stress response, you need to become aware that you're thinking about them, because we do it many times subconsciously. If you're able to figure out what you're thinking, then this is time that you need to put your new tools to practice. Remember the out with the old? So we can either change them for a calmer version. For example, let's say you realize that you're all getting tense and anxious, and you discover that you were watching the news and you got anxious about all the coronavirus numbers that are growing because there's so much testing happening right now. Then you begin to get stressed about it. Remember when we did our park board, that we circle the things that we can do something about it? Is there something that we can do about the number of coronavirus that is happening out there? No. That is a problem that I cannot fix, and that is a problem that it doesn't belong to me. So if I cannot fix this problem, there's nothing I can do about it, then I can do one of two things. First, I could either calm my body down, remember something pleasant that I've done, and try to calm my body with deep breathing and progressive relaxation. I could also choose to distract my body doing other activities that will distract me from thinking about that. If I'm too jittery and full of anxious energy, I could choose to use that energy. I could say, okay, I'm all energized, but there's nothing that I can do right now, so I'm gonna go for a walk. So use that energy to do something productive for you. Go for a walk, go for a run, do some exercise. By then you will lower your cortisol, your deep breathing with your moving and your exercise will help you calm down. And that way you will accomplish calming your body by doing some exercise and reducing your cortisol levels and adrenaline levels as well. We have been talking about many different techniques. Some of you have reached out to me and tell me which technique has helped you the most. We are all so different. The different techniques are there for you to choose and see which one helps you the most. The last technique that we are adding to our stop exercise is power posing. You can go for 2 minutes to the bathroom or to your bedroom or any private area that you can find, and do a power pose that I recommend you combine it with your diaphragmatic breathing. This way it will help you calm down and it will help you feel powerful, ready to do and tackle whatever comes your way. Professor Kari warns us to be careful while we're using our iPhones. Now we all take the iPhone position that we're low and we're constantly touching our phone and we're looking down and we're making ourselves small. This iPhone posture is sending the wrong messages to our brain and to our body. So be aware of that. Change your positions, change your postures so you acquire a more powerful posture that will help you feel more powerful and more able to sustain the challenges that might come your way. In Romans 12:2 says, "And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." That has been our desire from the very beginning, to be able to transform our mind in a way that it will help us stay calm, to live a peaceful life. Once we learn these techniques and we master them, then we can turn around and teach them to the people around us, to our family and friends and anybody that wants to learn from us. It's my hope for you today that you become a master on keeping your body calm, transforming your mind every day so you can improve your health. This way, we all be helping our communities into creating a new stress response, a response that will lead us to a healthier life and a healthier version of myself. Hopefully, I'll see you again next week for our last class.